Hi, gang. This is Holly. I'm the social media coordinator for the Smith & Landry Podcast Not a Podcast, and I'd like to wish you all a fun, safe, and happy new year. And stay tuned because there's more fun with Brian and Pam to come in 2020.
It's Brian and Pam.
Yes, it is.
Hey, Pam.
I'm over here.
Pam Landry. Hey.
I'm over here.
How are you, Pam? What are you doing?
I'm fine, Brian Smith.
Oh, good. What's all this? What are you up to?
Well, it's episode 28 of the Smith & Landry Podcast Not a Podcast.
Oh, you're doing a podcast.
Brian, it's the last episode of 2019.
No kidding. Last one of 2019.
Last one. I'm glad you stopped by.
Yes, thank you. Do you need help?
I do.
All right. A podcast. How avant-garde.
I thought you'd be perfect for this, but it's not a podcast. It's a podcast, but it's not a podcast.
It's a podcast, not a podcast.
Exactly.
That's
You got
great.
it.
That's
You got it.
terrific.
Perfect.
Good. So it's a podcast. Are we recording in a cellar?
You'll do well with this.
What do we talk about? Hot Wheels?
A wine cave.
Trains? Hobbies?
Anything you want, Brian
Okay.
Smith.
Let's talk about the podcast. Didn't I just hear Holly's voice?
You did.
Oh, it was so nice.
Our buddy Holly, who takes care of all the social media.
Glad somebody knows how to do that.
Exactly.
Where would I listen to this podcast thing? This podcast, not a podcast.
Glad you asked. YouTube.
Oh, that's just one click and you listen.
That's right.
It's easier than radio.
Go to YouTube. Type in ice cream soda CT. All one word, right, Brian?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. All one word.
And then make sure you subscribe to our channel because it's free.
How much does it cost?
It's free.
No, but how much does it cost?
Nothing.
What do I have to charge to my Visa card to listen to this podcast, not a podcast?
Nada, zilch, nothing.
Zero?
Zero.
Zilch?
Zilch.
Nothing?
Nada.
Null set?
Not a cent.
Well, in that case, it's right down my alley.
And you can email us too at icecreamsodact.
That's where you get the money from, right?
What?
How much does it cost to what's it cost to email you?
Nothing.
That's free too?
Yeah.
Oh, this is incredible.
Well, I guess you have to buy a device to be able to email us, but the email itself is free.
Or heist one. No, don't do that.
icecreamsodact@gmail.com.
Okay.
That's how you email us.
All right, I'll do that right now.
Oh, and a special hello this week to our buddy Franz for checking in. We miss you too.
Yes, and if I can say this, we are going to start looking for emails now. Now that we know how to do it, email us. And like Pam said, the email address is very simple.
icecreamsodact@gmail.com.
And so if you have any kind of event you want us to know about, if you have a store and something's on sale that you want people to know about, we'll even talk about that.
Yeah.
We won't even ask for free stuff.
Nope.
Well,
Brian might.
Maybe not, but maybe.
icecreamsodact@gmail.com.
And that's our email address. We also do things like the weather.
Yeah. Here's your end of the year, beginning of the year weather forecast for the New Haven area, Brian.
End of the year, not the end of the year.
Not the end of the year. Beginning of the year, not the beginning of the year. All right, so it's going to be dry and about 32 degrees when we ring in 2020.
Cool.
So good, not bad weather.
No.
New Year's Day, also Thursday, mix of sun and clouds, highs in the low 40s. Rainy Friday, but warm, high around 50.
Wow.
And then the first week of 2020, showers on Saturday, high around 50. Sunday, mixed sun and clouds, high around 40. And Brian, not seeing any snow in the forecast in the next 10 days.
Nor any ice skating.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey, speaking of New Year's Eve, have you ever been down to that New Year's Eve celebration down in New York?
Brian Smith, you could not pay me to do that. Now, I lived in New York for a number of years. I worked in Times Square overlooking the ball.
Uh-huh.
No. Never.
I've been in big crowds before. I've been around the world in celebrations. I've never done Times Square on New Year's Eve.
Too many people. Plus, there's the whole bathroom thing.
See, now that's one of the biggest reasons why I think a lot of people don't go. I was just with some relatives over the holidays, and my cousin's daughter, she's in her mid-20s. She has 2 little babies now. She's married to a guy in the Army who's stationed down in North Carolina. They're up for the holidays. He wants to go to New Year's Eve at Times Square. She doesn't want anything to do with it. So who do they ask? They ask me, what would you do? And, honestly, here's what I told them. If you're set to go to New Year's Eve at Times Square, then you've got to either go to the bathroom before you go in and just not drink anything, or get a piddle pack.
Yeah, you have to wear like a diaper, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, the pilots wear piddle packs. They're little plastic containers with gel in them, so you can pee, and it stays there, and then you throw it out later. But my suggestion was to go to Mohegan Sun. Have you ever been there for New Year's Eve?
No.
Mohegan Sun, they set up big screens around with feeds from New York City. And they have bands. Now, it looks like, with the big feeds...
It looks like you're in Times Square?
Well, kind of, yeah. It looks like you're in Times Square. They've got the ball up in the big screen, but they've got bands on the big rock. And here's the best thing. You've got bathrooms, it's warm, and you can go get a beer or something to eat.
I can stay home.
Well, that's true, too.
And watch it on TV.
And then at midnight, the ball drops in New York, and all the confetti comes out of the ceiling at Mohegan Sun. It's a lot of fun.
Very nice. Well, when I worked down there in Times Square, I overlooked the ball, and the morning of the ball drop, New Year's Eve morning, people were standing in line by 10 a.m. Yeah. And then the next day, well, the next week after New Year's, walking through from Grand Central to Times Square, there was nothing but confetti. I mean, they cleaned that place up, but there's always confetti.
If you're 22 years old...
in corners, somewhere lurking.
Oh, that's true. There's always confetti, and it's like glitter. You never get rid of it all.
No.
And if you're 22 years old, which means then you are in possession of a 22-year-old bladder, you're fine if you don't drink. But if you go in there and you've had a few, or if you're drinking a lot of coffee, I can't imagine 2 hours into it when there's 8 hours to wait for the ball.
No.
I'm giving up.
No, there's just too many people. And the security's really tight now. I mean, years ago, you didn't have that kind of a situation. You could kind of come and go.
Oh, yeah. Years ago, you could go in there and just cause a ballyhoo.
That's right.
Yeah.
All three of you.
Just go in there and just start a big Donnybrook with other revelers. But now, you can't start a fight. Is that what they're trying to stop?
Speaking of years ago, Brian Smith, do you know what year the first New Year's Eve celebration was held in Times Square?
2003.
Close.
I don't know. How long ago? Is it the 1800s or 1900s?
1904.
1904.
But that was when they shot fireworks off. Yeah, could you imagine now?
Well, can't you bring your own now?
Probably.
I don't think they'll allow that.
I don't think
will
you're
they?
supposed to.
Where are you going with the fireworks, buddy? I just thought I'd go into the big crowd over there.
Well, they started, I think, first of all, they kind of outlawed the fireworks idea.
Yeah.
The first ball that was dropped was in 1907.
And was that on purpose? They dropped the ball on purpose? Or was that something that just happened and then they made it into a celebration?
No, that was on purpose.
Okay. All right. Then that's a fun celebration then.
But the ball then weighed only 700 pounds. You know what it weighs now? The 2020 Waterford Crystal Times Square New Year's Eve ball weighs 11,875 pounds.
Get out of here. Why does it weigh so much?
That's a ball you don't want to drop.
No, especially, it's a good thing there's not a big crowd all around there.
Oh, my goodness. It's huge. It's 12 feet in diameter.
Oh, that's crazy.
It's covered with over 2,000 crystal triangles, and it's illuminated by over 32,000 LED lights.
Any idea what they do with the ball afterwards? Do they make a new one for next year, or do they store it for the next year?
I think they make a house out of it. They donate it to Habitat for Humanity, I think. Along with the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree. That's true.
It's a podcast, not a podcast.
Coming up on the podcast, not a podcast, our friend Liz McNichol will tell us about a family event happening at Best Video this coming Saturday morning.
Yay!
It's going to be a lot of fun.
We will also hear from Colin Sheehan, who's involved with First Night Brantford, which is actually happening this coming Friday. But first, Brian.
Yes, Pam.
Do you believe that it's 20 years ago, this New Year's Eve, Y2K mania was in full swing?
Get out. It is not. How could it possibly
20
be?
years.
Let me do the math. It's 20 years, Pam.
Yes.
20 years.
Do you remember where you were for New Year's Eve 1999? Well, first of all, before we get into that, the hysteria was about computers. The electrical grid was going to go down and had to do with computers not being able to handle going from 99 to 00.
Yes, because computers are stupid. I remember people thought it was going to be kind of the end of the world.
Yeah, and you and I both were working in radio at the time, and it was the radio station's going to go off the air, and things were going to blow up, and
I bought a VHS tape from Kmart that said, here's what you should do to prepare for Y2K.
yeah, and there were actually people that were hoarding food and water too.
Well, I still do.
That's another story.
I wonder if I can find that Y2K videotape. That might be worth money.
Yeah, I'd like to see it, actually. Pretty funny.
$5.
I spent New Year's Eve 1999 in Key West because I figured if the world was going to come to an end, what better place for it to come to an end than in Key West?
That's a good point. I spent mine in Stratford for the same reason. I figured if the world's going to come to an end, what better place than Stratford?
Yeah.
I was at a party there.
Well, Brian, it's time for celebrity birthdays.
Yes, some things still exist. Do we have a song for that?
Let me see.
On the big jukebox, not a jukebox, press 25B.
Beep. Celebrity birthdays.
Oh, that's the song. That's a great song.
I believe it's up for an Oscar this year.
Yes, it's an exclusive to this podcast, not a podcast. Let's start celebrity birthdays off with a celebrity. Bradley Cooper turns 45.
Marilyn Manson is 51.
Just saw a picture of him without his makeup on. He still looks like him. He's got beady eyes.
That's unfortunate.
Marilyn Manson turns 51. You said that. This week, actor Cuba Gooding Jr. turns 52. Show me the money.
Show me the money. Brian was standing up on a desk when he said that.
Yes.
Actor Val Kilmer, remember him? He's 60 this week.
Put on a little weight, didn't he?
Yeah.
Tracy Ullman turns 60.
Matt Lauer, 62 this week.
Haven't seen him for a while on that Today Show. Is he on vacation still? Pam, rapper Grandfather Flash turns 62.
No.
What?
No. Grandmaster Flash.
Oh, okay. Oh, I see. Rapper Grandmaster Flash turns 62 this week.
That's better. Actor Mel Gibson, 64 this week.
Tom Hamilton, bass player for Aerosmith, turns 68 this week.
Victoria Principal is 70.
Get out!
Yeah.
Really?
Dallas.
Also this week, English songwriter, singer, record producer, and everything else, Jeff Lynne from, amongst other things, the Electric Light Orchestra and the Traveling Wilburys. Jeff Lynne turns 72.
Singer-songwriter, poet, and artist Patti Smith is 73 this week.
Also this week, Diane Keaton turns 74.
John Paul Jones, bassist and keyboardist for Led Zeppelin, 74.
Singer-songwriter Stephen Stills, you try saying that. Singer-songwriter Stephen Stills, good thing you need teeth to say all that, turns 75 this week.
Well done, Brian.
Thank you.
Actor Ben Kingsley is 76.
From the Monkees, Mike Nesmith on vocals and guitar. He turns 77 years old this week.
In fact, Davy Jones, who has left the planet, was born the same day, 2 years later, as Mike Nesmith.
No kidding.
Yeah,
They share the same birthday.
Same birthday, 2 years apart.
Singer-songwriter Country Joe McDonald of Country Joe and the Fish turns 78 this week.
Diane Cannon is 81.
She is not. Get out. Really?
Unbelievable.
Diane Cannon turns 81 this week.
Yeah.
Actor Frank Langella turns 82.
So does actor Anthony Hopkins. Brian, this week's winner of the Celebrity Birthday Jamboree.
The Smith and Landry podcast, not a podcast, oldest person on our celebrity birthdays list trophy goes to
Robert Duvall, a great actor, 89 years old this week.
Way to go, Robert Duvall. Let's stay alive until this podcast goes public.
It's Brian and Pam.
That's the best part of the show. Hey, kids, come on in.
Yippee, yippee, yay.
Brian and Pam are going to do music history.
Yippee, yay.
First, Pam sings that song.
This week in music history.
You hear that, kids? This week in music history. You'll remember this.
Oh, boy. Yay.
It's time for
The This Week in Music History.
That's the number one song right there. This Week in Music History. And where do we start?
Well, Brian Smith, we start in the year 1966, back in the Stone Ages. The Monkees this week started a 7-week run at number one with the Neil Diamond song, I'm a Believer.
Did you say back in the Stone Ages or Stoned Ages?
Either or will work. 1966.
That'd be a good movie, wouldn't it? The Stoned Age. Also this week in 1966, Simon and Garfunkel started a 2-week run at number one with Sounds of Silence.
And 1 year later, 1967, the Beatles scored their 15th number one with Hello, Goodbye. Check this out, Brian Smith. Number 2 song this week in 1967 was Gladys Knight and the Pips with I Heard It Through the Grapevine. And the number 3 song this week in 1967, The Monkees with Daydream Believer. Not a bad 1, 2, 3.
That's a lot of hits.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll see your 1967 week and raise you. The same week in 1967, The Doors released their self-titled debut album called, guess, the eponymous The Doors.
They called it the eponymous?
No, just The Doors.
Oh.
Yes, but it was eponymous.
Clever title. This week in 1970, B.J. Thomas started 4 weeks at number one with Raindrops Keep Falling on My Head. My mom loved that tune. That was in that wonderful movie, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid.
And then if you were sitting in the same spot exactly 1 year later, this week in 1971, you would find the triple George Harrison album, All Things Must Pass, at 7 weeks at number one.
Great album.
A triple album?
Triple album.
There were 3 discs in there?
Yep, there
Get
were.
out. Really?
Wonderful triple album. And George had the first number one album as a solo Beatle.
Oh, hey, well, look who's smart today.
Yeah.
Yes, hang on. Let me go to the trophy case. I think we have one just for Pam.
This week in 1973, Bruce Springsteen released his debut album, Greetings from Asbury Park, New Jersey. It was recorded, Brian Smith, in a single week. The album only sold about 25,000 copies in its first year of release.
Ridiculous. That was a great album. This week, back in 1975, Elton John started 2 weeks at number one with his version of the Beatles' song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds.
Oh, and this week in 1976, the Bay City Rollers went to number one with Saturday Night.
This week in 1985, Rick Nelson was killed with 6 other people when his plane crashed in Texas.
And this week in 2015, Taylor Swift was number one with her 5th studio album, 1989.
Now let's rearrange the chairs a little bit because, settle in, kids, it's time for local events.
Local events!
Is that what we usually call it?
Local events!
And now it's time for stuff that's happening around here.
Stuff that's happening around here!
And now it's, okay.
We have quite a vast library of music here.
Yes, we do, but Pam, every one of those songs, a big hit, number one.
Yeah.
And where do we start this week? Let's start in, let's look at Hamden, shall we?
Sounds good.
Hamden, there's a New Year's Day hike going on.
Yes, there is. Sleeping Giant Park Association has their New Year's Day hike on New Year's Day, oddly, Wednesday. Starts at 1:30. You can meet at the kiosk at the main park entrance, and there'll be a champagne and sparkling cider social at 3 o'clock at the pavilion after the walk.
I wonder if at their Sleeping Giant Association meetings, if they all go, well, you get up on New Year's Day and have the hike if you want it so bad. Because, you know, that's what they do at associations. They come up with ideas, but then they have to find people who are going to do them.
It's your turn.
You want that New Year's hike again this year? Then you get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. What time does it start?
1:30 in the afternoon.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah.
Somebody said, yeah, I'll do it, but it's going to be at 1:30. All right. Also in Hamden this week, our friend Liz McNichol has something going on with other people at Best Video.
Yes, she does. It's a Saturday morning. It's a drum and sing family jamboree. And here's Liz to tell us more.
Hi, Brian and Pam. Liz McNichol here. I'm kicking off the new decade with a kid-friendly family jamboree this Saturday, January 4th at 10:30. Everyone is welcome and it's great for all ages. There'll be drumming and singing some favourite well-known songs and a little dancing through the video aisles at Hamden's very cool little music venue called Best Video and Cultural Centre right on Whitney Avenue. The concert starts at 10:30, but families can come early and grab a coffee or a cappuccino before the show. Hope to see you there, and wishing you and all your listeners a very happy and healthy 2020.
Thank you, Liz McNichol. And again, that event Saturday morning at 10:30 at Best Video, 1842 Whitney Avenue in Hampton.
You know, Brian Smith, that Liz McNichol, not only can she sing, but I just love listening to her talk.
I want to write a book just so she'll read it.
It's awesome.
And from Liz McNichol on Wednesday morning, we go to New Haven on New Year's Eve.
New Year's Eve, Winter Family Day for the last day of 2019. Starts at noon, runs till 5 o'clock at the Ralph Walker Ice Rink. That's on State Street in New Haven. It's a day of family fun. The entrance fee includes skate rental, food, and DJ. It's $20 per person. Kids under 10 are $10 per child. And Brian, it supports the Parks Department and their community programs.
And it's a great family day because if you don't like the family you have now, swap for a new one for the new year.
I don't know if you can do that.
That's not what it's about.
Not part of it.
That's a family day. On New Year's Day in New Haven, oh boy, this is going to chill your cubes.
Oh, indeed. The Elm City Parks Conservancy, you ready for this?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Organized a Plunge for Parks fundraiser at Lighthouse Point on New Year's Day. It's from 11 till 1. You can get tickets on the Elm City Nature Conservancy Facebook page. It's at Lighthouse Point. Now, you can pay, Brian, $25 for the right to hot tubs and breakfast.
Oh, great. Elitism.
After you take the plunge, or you can pay $10 to spectate and dine.
That's a great idea.
Enjoy live music, crafts for the kids, and a raffle as well.
One of those plunges into Long Island Sound for money, but then pay extra money for a hot tub. That's a great idea.
It is a great idea.
Who came up with that? I want to hire that person.
The hot tub part almost makes me think I could do the plunge.
Wait, let me think.
Almost.
Yeah, no. I'll go watch, but no, I'm staying out of the water. So we go from New Haven's plunge, get out of the water, dry off, and drive down to Brantford for their first night celebration.
That's right, Brian. This Friday from 6 till 7:30 on the Brantford Town Green, in keeping with the town's 375th birthday celebration. And they say, backed by popular demand, the town of Brantford has its second annual Brantford First Night, even though it's the 3rd of January.
Would they buy an old calendar?
Not sure. But here to tell us more is event coordinator Colin Sheehan.
Are you looking for something fun to do this Friday in Brantford? Well, come to the Brantford Green for our second annual First Night. We'll have a large bonfire, live music, an ice sculptor, food trucks, s'mores, and more. We can't wait to see you there, and this is hosted by the Brantford Parks and Recreation Department.
Thank you, Colin Sheehan, event coordinator for the town of Brantford's second annual Brantford First Night, which happens this Friday on the town green. You can check the Brantford 375 Facebook page for info.
Let's stay on the shoreline from Brantford to Guilford. And Sunday, the Guilford Arts Center Open Arts Day.
Yeah, from 1 till 3 on Sunday, Guilford Arts Center inviting everybody to the 8th annual Free Open Arts Day. Their studios and classrooms will be open with instructor artists demonstrating their crafts and offering hands-on art projects. Also, it's the final day of the sale on the holiday shop at the Guilford Arts Center. They're open from noon till 5. Everything's on sale there. And the Guilford Arts Center is at 411 Church Street in Guilford. Website, guilfordartscenter.org.
Good stuff on sale after the holidays. The wise person would be out there buying presents for people they forgot back during the holidays.
Good idea.
From Guilford, let's stay on the shoreline and go to East Haven. The library has something going on.
On Saturday from 1 till 3 at the East Haven Library, it's a Three Kings Day celebration for families. You can enjoy refreshments from Gautier's Bakery and socialize with other families. There'll be story time for kids, followed by a Three Kings Day themed craft and other fun Three Kings Day activities. And Brian, each child will also receive a special gift from the Magi.
Oh, great. I hope it's food.
Free and open to everyone. You do need to register to attend by calling the East Haven Library at 468-3890.
And from East Haven, let's go to Milford. And this is one of Pam Landry's favorite events, a pet adoption day.
Yes, Friends of the New Haven Animal Shelter are holding a pet adoption event. It is Sunday from 11:30 till 3 at the Milford Petco. Brian, it's where the pets go.
To Petco.
Petco, where
it's
the
where
pets
the pets go and where they get adopted, hopefully.
Hopefully.
All right, now we have time for some food stories. Pam, you have a story about pizza that I did not want to hear until we release it here on the podcast, not a podcast.
Food stories.
And what's the pizza story?
Pizza stories.
It's coming up after we do the food trends.
All right, I'll tease it for you, Brian. The Daily Meal has a 2019 list of the 101 best pizzerias in America.
Excellent.
Connecticut has 6 of them.
No, it's even more excellent. It's excellenter.
So I'll tell you which ones and where they landed on the 101 best pizzerias in America.
That's great. But now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for last decade in food.
Last decade in food.
A regurgitation of the food trends from the last 10 years.
Yeah, there's some buttes.
Oh, I'll bet. What kind of leftovers are we looking at in there, Pam Landry?
Brian, how about kombucha? Do you know what kombucha is?
I think you just swore at me in some foreign language. Same to you, lady.
Some people hate it, some people love it. It's supposed to be really good for your gut. It's basically fermented tea.
Yeah, it's old tea. They found a
Fermented tea.
They found a way to sell old tea.
Yeah, so kombucha is a thing.
Hey, you made this tea 4 weeks ago. I'm going to throw it out. Oh, don't throw it out. Just call it something exotic and sell it.
Kombucha. And Brian, you might want a little avocado toast to go with your kombucha.
Sure. Well, I like avocado. I like toast. So why not throw it out?
Right. Somebody put
Yeah.
avocado on bread and decided it was a meal.
It's not a meal. That's a snack.
Avocado toast.
All right. So far we've set the table with old tea and green toast. What's next?
How about dessert?
Oh, that sounds good.
Someone, Brian, combined a donut and a croissant. What did they come up with?
A thing of beauty.
The cronut.
Oh man, that's utopia right there. That's a flaky taste of heaven. What? A what?
A cronut.
A cronut. Dunkin' Donuts had those for a while.
Oh, yeah. They were everywhere.
They cost like twice as much as everything else, but I don't think they have them anymore. Did people just stop liking cronuts all of a sudden?
A donut mated with a croissant became a cronut.
Yeah, I think it had twice as many calories, too. But what happened to them?
I think they're still around.
I think if you went to Dunkin' Donuts and ordered one, they'd just say, "Next window, please," and they wouldn't serve you.
Something to go with your cronut? Another big trend of the 2010s. Alcoholic seltzer.
This is what all the people who want to lose weight think they're going to drink and not have as many calories, but they get twice as drunk.
Well, basically a spritzer is putting seltzer in your wine, so you don't have to put the wine in this. It's like, White Claw, that's a big brand.
Yeah. So this is just a white fizzy drink that gets you drunk. See Zima from the 1980s.
Oh, no thanks. Also a big trend of the 2010s, gluten-free.
Yeah, gluten-free.
And finally, Brian, another big craze of the 2010s, Beyond Meat and Impossible Foods.
This is the brand new one. This just came out 6 months ago.
It's pretty new, yeah.
And Dunkin' Donuts now has the Beyond Meat breakfast sandwiches, but you still have the bun, the cheese, and the egg on it.
Right. It's just if you don't want meat. I had a Beyond Meat burger.
How was it?
Tasted like meat.
Was it Beyond Meat?
Yeah.
Was it Beyond Good or was it good?
It was good.
All right, I'll have to try that. As long as they don't come up with something called Beyond Pizza. I want real pizza.
Well, they might.
Speaking of pizza, we've got some pizza news.
Pizza news!
What's the pizza news this week, Pam Landry?
Okay, well, the Daily Meal...
The what?
The Daily Meal.
The Daily Meal.
So they put out a 2019 list of the 101 best pizzerias in America. And Brian Smith, not only is Connecticut number one, and I'll tell you who it is.
Of course.
But there are 6 that made the list.
Really, you and I should get the podcast, not a podcast, the Smith and Landry podcast, not a podcast, mobile, not a mobile, and go find every one of these 101 pizza places.
Works for me. Okay, here's the list. Coming in at number 51, a pizza place in Derby called Roseland Apizza.
Been there, love it.
Number 46, in West Haven, Zapardi's.
Of course, been there. Almost lived there for a while. It was so good.
Number 44, Stamford, Connecticut, Colony Grill.
Colony Grill. Now, there's a few of them. Been there.
There are a few of them.
Good.
Number 20 on the best 101 pizza places in America, in New Haven, Connecticut, Modern Apizza.
Ah, modern, of course. You're making me real hungry. This is a torturous list.
Well, they were at number 20. Number 7, also in New Haven, Sally's Apizza.
Sally's. Had my own table there till Flo made me take my name off it.
And Brian Smith coming in at number 1 on Daily Meal's 2019 list of the 101 best pizzas in all of America. Number 1.
I wonder I wonder what this could be.
In New Haven, Connecticut.
Yeah, I wonder what this could be.
Number 1 for the 3rd straight year. Pepe's Pizza.
Who?
Pepe's Pizza.
Never heard of them.
Frank Pepe Pizzeria Napolitana.
Why would they name it after a cartoon character? Popeye's Pizza? What?
And now there are a couple of them, too.
Yeah, Pepe's. Wow, Pepe's number 1. What a surprise.
Don't make me choose.
No. You know what? We should put together a pizza that has a slice from every one of those pizza places together. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, what a great idea.
What a great gift idea that would be for your hosts of your favorite podcast, not a podcast. I'll take 2. Well, this brings us to the close of another holiday podcast, not a podcast. Our 50th anniversary show, as a matter of fact.
That's not true.
No, that's not true either. No. But are we done yet?
Well, a big thank you to Holly, who started off episode 28. She is our social media maven and made a lot of things possible.
Big thank you to Liz McNichol, who will be at Best Video in Hamden this coming Saturday morning.
And Colin Sheehan with Brantford First Night.
And anybody else who wants us to know about your events, things you're selling, perhaps, just if you want to do a greeting, you can send us some audio. It's icecreamsodact@gmail.com. That's our email address.
Hit us up with an email.
Or just check out our YouTube channel. That's Ice Cream Soda CT, all one word. And just search that and you'll have all our episodes.
And please subscribe.
It's free.
In the meantime, we'll see you next year.
Yeah, we'll be back next year. Are we done?
I think we're done.
Oh, do we have to say Happy New Year to everybody? Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year!
Goodbye!